November 12th, 1996, a date that will forever be remembered as one of the darkest days in aviation history. Over the skies of a small Indian village, two massive commercial planes, Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763 and Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, were on a tragic collision course. What unfolded was a disaster that shocked the world and changed the aviation safety forever. The events of that day serve as a stark reminder of the importance of clear communication and strict adherence of safety protocols in the aviation industry. So today, we dive into what caused this catastrophic event, how 349 people lost their lives, and the lasting impact this tragedy had on the aviation industry. This incident not only claimed lives but also led to significant changes in the air traffic control procedures and international aviation regulations. The lesson learned from the disaster continue to influence how air traffic is managed around the globe. Let's start by looking at the two planes involved in this disaster. The first was Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763, a Boeing 747 jumbo jet, which had just taken off from India Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi, India, its destination, Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. On board were 312 people, including passengers and crew members. This was a large commercial flight with many people heading home after business, vacations, or visiting families in India. The Boeing 747, known for its distinctive hump and spacious interior, was a popular choice for long-haul flights, and this particular flight was no exception. Passengers included families, business travelers, and individuals returning to their homes after spending time in India. On the other hand, we have Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, a Soviet-made Ilyushin I-176 cargo aircraft which was flying into New Delhi from Shymkent, Kazakhstan. This plane was carrying 37 people, including crew and passengers. Unlike the Saudi jet, this was primarily a cargo aircraft, but it also had a small number of passengers on board. The I-176, known for its large cargo capacity and robust design, was often used for transporting goods and materials. However, on this day, it was also carrying individuals who were likely traveling for various reasons, including work and personal matters. Both planes were on completely different missions, one leaving New Delhi, the other one arriving in New Delhi. Under normal circumstances, they should never have come close to one another. But on this day, a deadly series of miscommunications and errors would bring them into a same airspace, with devastating consequences. The aircraft control systems, designed to keep aircraft safely separated, was put to the test in a way that no one could have anticipated. So, how exactly did this tragedy happen? The key to this disaster lies in the air traffic instructions given to both planes. Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763, after takeoff, was instructed to climb and maintain an altitude of 14,000 feet. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, which was descending towards New Delhi, was instructed to hold at 15,000 feet. This should have provided a safe 1,000-foot vertical separation between the two planes, ensuring that they would not become into the conflict with one another. But a terrible misunderstanding occurred. The Kazakh crew, due to language barriers and the lack of proper communication, mistakenly descended below the assigned altitude. Instead of holding at 15,000 feet, they dropped to 14,000 feet, the exact altitude of the Saudi flight. This critical error was not just a simple mistake, it was a failure of the entire communication system that was supposed to ensure the safety of all flights in the area. The root of this fatal error was human communication. The Kazakh crew, who were not fluent in English, the international language for aviation, misunderstood the instructions from air traffic control. They believed they were being asked to descend to 14,000 feet. But in reality, they were supposed to remain at 15,000. This mistake put them directly in the path of the Saudi flight. The consequences of this misunderstanding were catastrophic, leading to a collision that would claim the lives of all on board both aircraft. In the aftermath of this tragedy, investigations revealed several critical factors that contributed to the disaster, like the lack of standardized communication protocols, especially in regions where English proficiency was low, was highlighted as a significant issue. Additionally, the investigation pointed out the need for better training for air traffic controllers and pilots in handling complex situations. The aviation industry recognized that improvements were necessary to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. This disaster led to significant changes in aviation safety regulations. New protocols were established to ensure that language barriers would not compromise flight safety. Enhanced training programs were developed for pilots and air traffic controllers, focusing on clear communication and understanding of instructions. The lessons learned from this tragic event continue to shape the way aviation safety is approached today, emphasizing the importance of clarity and precision in all communications. In conclusion, the events of November 12, 1996 serve as a powerful reminder of the critical importance of communication in aviation. The tragic loss of 349 lives were not in vain, as it spurred significant changes that have made air travel safer for everyone. The aviation industry continues to learn from this disaster, striving to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. On the Saudi side, there was no warning of the impending danger. The pilots of Flight 763 were climbing as instructed, completely unaware that the Kazakh plane was descending into their flight path. The two planes were now flying at the same altitude, just moments away from a devastating impact that would change the course of aviation history forever. Then, boom, at approximately 6:40 p.m., the unthinkable happened. The Kazakh I-176 tail stuck into the left wing of the Saudi 747 with a force that was unimaginable. The impact was catastrophic and immediate. The tail of the Kazakh plane sliced through the wing of the Saudi jet, causing it to lose control almost instantly. In a matter of seconds, the two planes exploded in the sky, sending debris and wreckage spiraling towards the ground below, creating a scene of chaos and destruction. Both planes were critically damaged. The Saudi jet's wing was nearly severed and it burst into flames, illuminating the darkening sky. The Kazakh plane also disintegrated from the impact, its structure unable to withstand the force of the collision. Within seconds, both aircrafts began to fall from the sky, their pieces scattering over the farmland below, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The scene on the ground was horrifying. The debris was spread all over a large area near the village of Charki Dadri, creating a grim landscape of twisted metal and charred remains. Rescue teams were rushed to the site, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they were likely to find nothing. But sadly, there were no survivors. All 349 people on board both aircraft perished in the crash, making it the deadliest mid-air collision in history. A somber milestone that would haunt the aviation community for years to come. For days, investigators scoured the crash site, recovering bodies, black boxes, and clues as to how this tragedy occurred. The loss of life was immense, and the shockwaves of this disaster were felt around the world. Families were left shattered, and communities mourned the loss of their loved ones. The investigations were thorough, as authorities sought to piece together the events leading up to the collision, hoping to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. Following the crash, a thorough investigation was conducted by the Indian government and international aviation authorities. The primary cause was identified as the altitude error made by the Kazakh crew, a mistake that had dire consequences. But the investigations also revealed other important factors, including the crew's lack of English proficiency and the absence of crucial safety technology that could have potentially served the disaster. At this time, many planes did not have the Traffic Collision Avoidance System, that's TCAS, which is now a standard in all commercial aircraft. TCAS alerts pilot if another plane is too close and provides immediate instruction to avoid a collision. If these systems had been installed on the Saudi and Kazakh planes, this disaster might have been averted, saving countless lives and preventing the heartache that followed. Out of this tragedy came critical reforms that reshaped aviation safety worldwide. English was made the mandatory language for all the international aircraft control communications, ensuring that pilots and controllers could communicate clearly and effectively. This change aimed to eliminate the language barriers that had contributed to a misunderstanding that led to the collision. Additionally, TCAS was made mandatory for all large aircraft. This system, which automatically alerts pilots of potential mid-air collision, has since saved countless lives and prevented numerous disasters. So, The legacy of Charkhi Dadri continues to remind the aviation industry of the importance of safety, communication, and technology in preventing future tragedies. For the families of the 349 victims, the pain of that day still lingers. Their loved ones who boarded on those flights, expecting to arrive safely at their destination, never returned. Memorials have been held, and their tragic loss serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and critical need for safety in our skies. The emotional scars left by the disaster are deep, and the memories of those lost ones continue to resonate within their families and communities. In the years that followed, the aviation industry made significant strides into the improving safety protocols. Training programs for the pilots and the air traffic controllers were enhanced, focusing on clear communication and the importance of adhering to safety regulations. The lessons learned from this tragic event continues to shape the way aviation safety is approached today, emphasizing the importance of clarity and precision in all communication. So, in conclusion, the events of November 12, 1996 serve as a powerful reminder to the critical importance of communication in aviation. The tragic loss of 349 lives was not in vain, as it spurred significant changes that have made air travel safer for everyone. The aviation industry continues to learn from this disaster, striving to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. The legacy of those who lost their lives that day lives on, pushing up for a safer future in the skies for all others. The memory of those who lost their lives in the Charkhi Dadri disaster will forever remain etched in our hearts. Their stories and the impact of their loss will never be forgotten. If you found this story interesting and want to explore more historical tales, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. This way, you will never miss our latest videos about the past.